Welcome to the podcast. This show is about the Real Estate Network Training Society community, also known as Rents. We're a diverse group of investors and our members range from beginners to seasoned pros. Rents is the only charity real estate education company in Canada, and we're here to help you on your journey to financial freedom using real estate. My name is Sam Perrin. I'm the president of Rents, and I'll be your host today. I'm a full-time real estate investor who's retired as a police officer at the age of 30 to spend more time with my family. Now I help people create passive income through real estate. As you'll see from the many stories shared on this show, there's lots of roads that will take you to your goals. When you hear the diverse experiences of our guests, I bet that you'll find a path that mirrors your own, and this will inspire you to take the actions needed to build your wealth too. When you become financially free, you're better positioned to make the world a better place. And that's what we're all about. You can send any questions or suggestions for the show to info@rents.website. That's info@rents.website. Enjoy the show. Welcome to the Rents podcast. My guest today is Joe Doyle, and I'm super excited to be speaking with you here, Joe. I just want to do a quick introduction. So, Joe, you're a full-time real estate investor, yes. And you have a beautiful daughter and loving wife. Mm-hmm. And I know that you used to be a mortgage broker for Dominion Lending. And you took some courses through the Sauder School of Business at UBC.
Correct.
And let's see, you took negotiation training, the Negotiation Training Institute
in Vancouver. Yeah.
And you've owned and sold over 5 businesses in and around the Vancouver area, and now you're just killing it in the renovation business, flipping business here in Kamloops, and I'm really excited to talk about that.
Okay.
So maybe Joe, can you start off by telling us a little bit more about yourself?
Oh well, I guess to start, I grew up here in Kamloops. As a kid, I was in and out of the foster care system. So, I was a warden of the government for years, and I have a lot of memories here were negative, and a lot of bouncing around and no really stability, and I guess essentially that's what's given me the driving force I have today. It's it's painted a path for me of how I want to live and how my life wants to go. So. That was pretty much all I needed as a kid was, put the proverbial fire under the seat, if you will, to get me up and going. So, and I moved to Vancouver, had a couple of different businesses there, so ended up starting up a bar business there, and worked that industry, on and off for 17 years. And then 5 years ago I owned and sold the business and my home, all of which sold in a matter of 8 hours. And
wow.
Yeah, and I guess change was inevitable. So, doing some research on the Kamloops market and real estate here, I thought, hey, it works perfect. Come back home, do some investing here. The rental offsets are amazing here, and let's start a whole new career and do something completely different.
That is so cool. So, how long ago was it that you sold your business?
Well, I've been in Kamloops now for 2 years now. So I held it for 5 years. So 2 years ago I sold.
Oh, you sold your business 2 years ago, moved to Kamloops.
Yeah.
So at what point? Tell us about a little bit more about the business there in Vancouver. You worked the bar, and then you purchased it, took it over from the previous owner? Or?
Yeah. Well, a long story short, I was in and out of the pub industry, bouncing from pub to pub, kind of managing and working them in general. And that one came up. It was an old owner who owned it actually couldn't pay the rent. He was trying to get some outside, customers in, not catering to the demographic of the area, and which was like kind of longshoremen, iron workers, some income assistants, that kind of thing. And he couldn't make it, so he did the whole walkout, and then the thing left empty for about a year or two. So the owner of the hotel approached me to take it. I then negotiated from the start that I will not pay anything for it, and I will take it and I will pay the rent. And it'll be prorated for a year until I'll pay what he wants. And I took it over, and from day one, since I was in and out of the industry and in that area, and I got to know the people, and I'd worked 16 to 18-hour days ever since I was down there, I ended up getting that thing in the bar, and from day one it was busy. And I literally took 95% of the market share the whole area.
Wow, that's
So
incredible.
from day one, they supported me, and it was successful.
So, I mean, what I'm hearing is that you work what I know is that you work incredibly hard, and that's been a constant theme since your early beginnings. And what's funny how a lot of times those tough circumstances growing up, I've been through them too. It sounds like you've been through some pretty tough times that can really sharpen somebody's edge and make them really hungry. So
I didn't see it as, for me, I didn't see it as being different from anyone else. I just thought this is just the path that's given to me, and how I make of it is what the outcome will become. How I looked at it and how I respond.
Yeah, no kidding. So you took over 95% of the business.
I literally took a business for nothing, from $0 a year to $2.4 million in revenue in a pub, selling glasses of beer for $1.75.
Wow,
so that's a lot of kegs.
No kidding. So what age did you end up leaving Kamloops?
When I left, when I was in grade 8, my aunt plucked me out of foster care, took me to Ucluelet on Vancouver Island, where I spent 5 years, and that's where I started establishing more of a stability for life. A nice, comfortable home, food in the fridge, support, work. And my uncle owned the Petrocan there in Ucluelet. If anyone's been to Ucluelet, see the Petrocan there. So I worked in the shop and worked as a gas GSA there. I called myself a petroleum transport technician, the technical term.
Good for you.
So I was transporting petroleum from pump to car. And and I literally worked every day there as much as I could. I remember one summer I worked 77 days straight. So I figured that's the way I looked at things, is when people are waking up, I'm working. When people are going to bed, I'm still working. So that's inevitably a way to get ahead. So that's kind of the way I looked at life, and 8 hours ain't going to do it.
So from Ucluelet, where did you end up going from there?
Ended up I met a girl there on grad night, girl that I'd been going to high school with. And we were together, and her stepdad ran all the pubs downtown Vancouver in that area.
Oh.
So that's how I got introduced to the area. He soon left a couple months after that to pursue his own personal pub in Penticton. And so I was kind of, in and out of downtown there. I was, doorman, kind of, busboy, server, worked my way up from there, to a full-time server, and then a bartender, and then bartender to manager. So that's how I got to know and got to have that rapport with everyone down in the area. So.
Okay, and then you ended up, working in this particular bar. Took it over as you described.
And then
there was a vacant space in the Center Hotel, and
Yep.
You managed to negotiate a pretty cool lease.
I got a cool lease, and and then right before I sold it, I negotiated an even bigger lease, which essentially benefited when the sale happened. So,
wow, Donald Trump style.
They thought I was They thought I was a lifer, and I knew I wasn't. So that was the thing. I was in there 18 hours a day. I worked in my own business, and I felt like a slave in my own business. I essentially had achieved what I wanted to achieve in being my own boss.
Yeah.
But I'm like, there's something more than this. Like, I'm here 18 hours a day. I don't feel I'm at my highest and best use. I knew, and that's when I knew at that moment it wasn't all about money. Because if it was about money, I would have stayed where I was. I needed something more. My little girl is 2 at the time. And I wanted to be able to see her. I never saw her. I was away. I literally saw her 1 day a week, and I was doing no service to my family. So as much as I was polar opposite from my father, and the alcoholic he was and wasn't around, left when I was 6, I didn't want to be that extreme on the other end.
Yeah, working, and that's the reason you're away instead.
Correct.
Yeah.
So that's why put everything for sale and selling, and we are moving. So wife was surprised. It's been the best move ever.
Yeah.
She's happy. I'm happy.
So you met her in
Vancouver, in Langley, Vancouver,
in
Vancouver
Langley,
area.
okay.
Yeah. I was living and working in Vancouver, and essentially I was renting a house there on Argyle in Victoria. It was $1,800 a month. I was 22 years old, paying off someone else's mortgage. This is kind of where all of it started to filter. I'm like, I can buy a house in Langley. Bought a 4-bedroom, 4-bathroom, 2,800 square foot house, spiral staircase, marble entry.
Wow.
23 years old for $315,000, and the rest is history, as you know, as that house then sold for quite a bit more. So that ended up opening up my eyes to, wow, this is a pretty cool game.
You sold that house two years ago.
I sold that house. I've lived in multiple houses since then.
Oh, okay.
But I ended up selling that house for $615 after, so, and the thing was almost paid off by the time I sold it. So it was,
Wow.
you know, I did the whole accelerated bi-weekly with lump sum payments, and you know, it's all focused on trying to get that thing down. So that essentially was my catapult to, wow, this is pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and various you know, books I'd read, you know, real estate investing in Canada, and there's actually a couple from Dave DeBow, and going to the apartment complex wealth building conferences that seminars that he had hosted, and I did those, and REAG in Vancouver, and all those things combined together has given me the passion for where I am today.
So you've been networking for a long time in the real estate space.
Just engulf yourself in and around the people that you want to be.
Yeah.
Right. And essentially, same birds of a feather, if you will.
So you had this bar. Where did you find the time to open and run your other businesses?
I knew that even at that early age, I knew that this was not going to be it for me. I knew that I needed something else. So hence going and getting my mortgage broker's license through UBC was a way of an exit strategy out of the pub, which essentially I used when I did sell for a little while. And you know, I opened up a power washing business doing transport trucks. I washed a fleet of transport trucks and did that on the weekend. That was very good, but that's, you know, again, that's kind of here or there. You know, when the times are good, you're the guy washing. When the times are bad, I'm the first guy to get cut. So, you know, that, I opened up a small pizza shop in my bar that I was managing before that as a manager, and realized I'm not really the food guy. So that was a big eye-opener for me. Had a car wash on Hastings right below SFU. At the car store there, I had my little car wash there, kind of come in, full service thing. Did that for about 6 months. Oh, I've had a drainage company, did an outdoor drainage, drain tile. I worked for a company for a year, learned everything I needed to learn, said I quit, started my own, started doing that for myself, and that was very good. And just kind of bounce around, just finding that, seeing what my niche is, what I want to do, or what will eventually give me passive income, and none of those things seem to really check that box. Right. They were good if I was involved, and that was the problem. If I'm engulfed full-time myself, trading time for dollars, it's not going to work for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it sounds like you really get it, because
and
that's and that's kind of what led you to the real estate realm.
100%.
So Joe, tell us a little bit more about your family. How old's your daughter now?
Daughter's 4, turning 5 on November 2nd.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, growing up so fast, and I haven't missed a single thing since we moved here.
What's her name?
Zaria.
Yeah.
I used to own a little restaurant on the North Shore, or a little ice cream parlor called Pebbles Ice Cream.
Oh, yes.
Yes, and I did that for about a year and a half, and that was her face, because she looks identical to Pebbles. Little red hair, blue eyes, personality to follow suit. And but again, realizing I'm not really part of, you know, too good. But I'm an optimist. Everything's an opportunity, so why not give it a shot, right? But that's no longer open now, so, you know, it gives me more time to focus on what I'm doing now anyways, and what I enjoy. So.
You know what? When you tell me that story that you own Pebbles, I think we met before when I was on the job.
Really?
Do you remember? When I was still working my job.
Did you come in there?
No, you gave me your business card at some point.
Oh,
because we were talking business a little bit, because I was interested. And you just you know what?
Did you pull me over for something?
No. We were just chatting.
Oh,
I think it might have been outside one of the bars downtown or something. But no, you weren't in any trouble or nothing.
Oh,
no. But
I'm like, I don't even get in trouble. I don't even drink.
Oh, so you had the ice cream. So you were trying to mirror, I guess, what Tim Hortons was doing with their.
Well, I just thought
the ice cream and the.
You know, being my mortgage background, you know, I needed something. If I'm in real estate, is eventually what I'm going to be 100% what I'm doing. I need something to grow, because I was coming here paying cash for houses, renovating them, and then either putting a mortgage on them, refinancing, or doing the whole thing there. But I mean, with no business, no income, it makes it a little harder if I want to do multiple deals at a time.
Yeah.
So I needed some sort of a revenue stream, some kind of money, you know. So, you know, set up my company, had that going through there. But it's just I was engulfed in it too much myself, and the whole problems with staff, as everyone knows, be a headache. So yeah, no, I'm just trying to find more strategic ways. There's a lot of different strategic ways to get a mortgage people don't understand. So there are assignments or agreements for sale or vendor take-backs, all sorts of different things, ways to make a deal happen. And that's where I pride myself on, is being creative.
Yeah.
So
it's an essential survival skill
sure.
in this business. And
you're
I'd say you're one of the best deal makers that active deal makers that I've met here. So
yeah, it's probably the funnest part is negotiating and winning and finding a creative way to make something happen.
Yeah,
it's pretty fun.
Yeah, tell us about your wife. What's her name?
Her name is Stacy Doyle. She works at the hospital here in Kamloops.
Yeah.
In labor and delivery, and she's also got a psych degree, so she works at Hillside, and she teaches first year psych and or labor and delivery students
at the university school.
Yeah.
Wow.
So she'll do hands-on, practical work in the facility itself. So that makes her a good candidate to teach because she's already worked in both places. So
yeah, and she's obviously supportive of your
100%. Yeah, because I think that's one of the most important things, because if you don't have that support factor there, you're in trouble. Because with what we do, there's leaps, there's ups and downs, man, and nothing's consistent. Coming from Vancouver, where everything was consistent, to here where it's like, oh, we're making money. Oh no, we're not. Oh, we just so it's up and down, and if you don't have that support, it makes things that much harder. So she's 100% supportive. Doesn't get involved in what I do. She just trusts me, which is good, and she's there for if I want to talk about things. So she's an amazing wife and partner.
Yeah, that's fabulous and so important. That's your first and most important joint venture partner, right? So.
100%. If they're not on board, you might as well just get a 9 to 5. Right, or lose the family or break up the family.
Yeah.
So that's either or, right? So that's a massive thing. If you got that, then you're already one step ahead. And luckily, I have that.
And how many times do you have to pledge, the family assets to make a deal work, right?
Oh, yeah, I dump everything.
Hey, honey, please sign here on this personal guarantee.
Yeah,
deal, right? And,
let's empty this, let's empty that. We're putting this up, we're putting that up, right? Put our rental properties up, everything's 100 miles an hour, so.
So since you moved to Kamloops, what kind of deals have you done? Have you done? I know you've done a bunch of renovations. Have you held on to anything?
Yeah, I currently have 4 rental properties in Kamloops. 3 I've gotten this year, so I've been very aggressive.
Wow.
In that aspect of things, and that's been great. And so I've totally in 2 years I've rehabbed and sold 5 properties, and now I've kept 4, and I have 4 that I've kept. So.
And what's the reason for keeping them?
Well, that's always the long-term goal.
Right.
It's one thing to flip them and create some revenue, but there's no long-term. As everyone knows, we want to get passive income. We want to make money when we're sleeping. That's a great way to do it. Yeah. There's nothing better than going to the bank and depositing a rent check for one of your homes. Where they wake up in the morning, put their pants on like you and I, go to work to pay off your house.
Yeah.
And the many times as you can do that, the better. And it's not about money, it's about just growth, and it's exciting, and I love it. So. Yeah,
you and me both. So you have an interesting. You don't work alone. You have partners that you've brought on.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk a bit about that?
Well, I got my best friend Angus Glasgow. He's my business partner. I was first into town doing all this by myself, and as much as that's great and everything, I would rather share it with somebody. I would rather grow with somebody. 2 people together are better. Ideas come together. Things that we may not have thought about, now we're getting taken care of because they have a better idea. So I joined up with my partner, and it's been an amazing partnership. And that's how we're growing so fast too. It's just when you get 2 birds together, the same goals. And we have the same vision. It's not all short term. We look long term. And we're definitely going somewhere. It's just how fast do we want to go.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of fast, we just kind of glazed over this, but I happen to know you're a big time car guy.
Oh yeah, I love it.
And that ties into the car wash.
Besides my family, I would say it's my second biggest driving force for success. And it's not about showing off. It's just there's nothing better than cleaning yourself up, cleaning your car up, making it pristine, and then literally beating the crap of it down the highway. And feeling that, because I'm a high-paced person, high energy. Anyone who's ever met me knows that, man, this guy just doesn't slow down. But that's kind of how I like living.
So what's your dream car?
My dream car is a 918 Porsche. Yeah, that's a hybrid model. I love that car. It's about $1.5 million. It'll happen.
How many were in production? Oh. Is there a really limited amount, or
there was, and now they've started to make a few more, and they're going to be more accessible. But I mean, that car is amazing. Like, you brake and it gives power back to the batteries. You know, if anyone want to take a look at that, just look at the 918 Porsche.
What is it 0 to 60 time?
You get, if I'm mistaken, at 800 RPM, you got 562 foot-pounds of torque. At 800 RPM. It's like, I don't know what was the analogy of it. It's like, I don't even know what to say. It's like when you wake up in the morning and you're preparing your breakfast. You're already at the finish line where everyone's still taking a poop and thinking about what they're going to do the next day. So the car gets up and goes, and
it's street legal.
Oh yeah, street legal. Yeah, it's a hybrid, so you can have either full, naturally aspirated, or full battery, or basically combination of both together to give it that power and that. Because as everyone knows, if anyone's taken a look at some of the major supercars went on a big drag. You got the Ferrari, you got Lambos, you got the Shelby, you got the Corvette, and then you've got Tesla.
Right.
And who won in that drag strip?
Yeah.
The 4-door sedan Tesla.
I know, I watched that YouTube
all of
video.
those cars. Why? Because power is now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's pretty
Power
incredible.
Is now. And that's incredible. That's where we're going in the car world. And it's exciting and new. And, Elon Musk is a genius, and he's going to literally change the way we get to outer space, to drive the streets. And
well, he's already changed so much.
I love minds like that. It's and it'd be nice to have a part of that one day. My wife likes the Model X SUV, but not right now, but down the road.
Down the road.
Yeah.
yeah, me too.
I don't know. Cars always seem to drive me because I bought my first Porsche. I used to own a GT2 98 air-cooled. That car's worth a fortune today. And I went into the dealership in Porsche Vancouver, and hoodie, hat, worked, saved up a ton of money. Went in there, no one gave me the time of day. There's nothing better than when finally someone comes to talk to you and you say to them, today you're going to make some money. So that was a yaha moment for me. Yeah. And it's funny because when I first moved here, there was a little bit of a short story. I lived in Collingwood, below Bachelor Heights, where I live now in Batch, and so, in and out of the foster homes there. Mom was addicted to drugs and alcohol and heroin, all that kind of stuff. And I remember having a little toy, and it was a Porsche. And one of my mom's boyfriends at the time, I said to him, someday I'm going to have one of these. He looked at me and says, don't set expectations too high. You're just going to let yourself down. Know that your environment just does. Basically said something like that. I was, 7, 8 years old?
Yeah.
Who says that to a 7 or 8 year old kid?
Yeah, poisoning.
I looked right at him in his eye, dead state, and I said, I will have one. And then it's funny, when I moved back here, I was trying to find another house, couldn't find another house. Found one right when I moved here. That was great. Couldn't find another one, so I was a little bit frustrated. Went for a drive down West Side Road, looked over to the left, and while I'm ripping on my Porsche beside the friggin' Collingwood, I was like, I did it. I'm like, kind of, threw the old middle finger up at the, units there and said, yeah, told you I would.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of a yaha moment for me. So life's all, I think it's all about those little moments too, and how you look at them. And
you remember it, and now you've proven that guy wrong.
It's just
right?
to me. It's not to anybody else. It's just that I could do it, right? With limited resources, with nothing, and being creative, and no help from family, friends, nothing like that. Just kind of I'm on an island, man.
It's pretty incredible.
Time to survive.
yeah.
Are you the shark or are you the seal?
That's right. Yeah, and you gotta be tough, and you gotta be driven, and ambitious and all that. So, to make it in this world. You've shared so much here, Joe. I'm trying to decide on which direction we should go here. But I think the cars really tie into a lot of our lives. A lot of people are big into cars, but I think Angus is a pretty big car guy too.
That guy is a dictionary.
How did you guys meet?
Because of cars.
I thought
of cars.
Yeah,
That's how we did. He came into my shop when I had the Pebbles there, and we started talking. He has a nice Subaru WRX, and we started talking. He's like, and he said, "What car do you have?" I said, "I have a GT2 Porsche, right?" Oh wow, he's the air cooled. Yeah, the air cooled one. Yeah, man, those are rare. I said, "Yeah, they are, and they're beautiful. I love them. My enthusiasts drool all over those ones, right? Because it's the last year of the air cooled Porsche, and after that was the liquid cooled, and everyone looks down on the 99 to 03."
Yeah.
And basically, we started talking. He's like, he's got an MR2 Spider race car that's going to produce 700 horsepower. And I'm just like, wow, that's a unique car too, right? And you talk to that man about any car, and he'll tell you everything that came along with that car. The guy's a dictionary, and you kind of drop your mouth like, how does that guy know that? How does he know that part is for that year, and they did that production, where and how, and who was the partner involved, who they sold the company to? He knows it all. So I'm just like, man, I love it. The guy likes what I like, right? So we start chatting. Long story short, and he just kept coming over to, be there and, hang out and talk about cars, and we still do that today. We recently went to the Supercar Weekend in Vancouver, where they have in Van Dusen Gardens. They have all the supercars, their Bugatti Veyrons, Pagani's.
When was that?
Right? This was this year in the summertime.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And I drove a McLaren 57S. Holy crap. That thing is awesome, right? The guy with me says, give it, like right downtown. I'm like, really? No, give it. And I'm getting bent around corners down Main Street. It was awesome. He's a professional driver for McLaren. So they had a little booth out there, and they just, hey, want to take it for a drive? I said, no problem. It fires me up. Like, when people say you can't have something, it drives me more than anything. And when you look at something, it's like, that's not going to come to your doorstep. You got to go and get it. So how are you going to go get it? Everyone has their thing. Everyone has the thing that they want, so go and get it. That's just the way I look at it with cars. That happens to be my passion. So.
Joe, have you checked out the Speedway yet in Oliver?
Oh, the Area 27?
The brand new one?
I want to go there. My Ace and I want to go there, but we're engulfed in work right now. So, but when things start to, hopefully, when they start maybe slow down a little bit, then we want to next year for sure, look into membership there and actually spend some time racing there.
So, Joe, you've got some pretty amazing skills. You got really, really strong work ethic. How did you achieve all that you've achieved? Did you go out and seek out different mentors or courses, or was it mostly trial and error?
Well,
how do you go about?
I guess the best example of how I search things out is a small story here in regards to who I have my mentor today. His name is Eaton Sharir. He owns Dynamic Achievements in Vancouver. And it's essentially what he does. He's a business and life coach. But I didn't know that. What I had done is I was feeling a little bit of the suppressiveness from the pub. And I felt a slave. Like, I got the golden chain around my ankle. How am I going to get out of this? What am I going to do when I get out? And it's not about the money. But at the same time, to go from X to Z is hard sometimes when there's a huge gap in between. So I took a book of ideas that I have, business ideas, invention, little things that I've thought about over the years. Huge book. Drove my truck that I had a $780 payment on, nice Cadillac rolling around. Went up to Tawasin, where all the $1 million homes were. And I literally parked the truck, and I walked and knocked on doors. And I literally go, beautiful house, nice to meet you, my name is Joe, I'm looking for advice.
No way.
And they'd be like, either some people were taken off, some people were flat, or some people were just like dumbfounded about, I'm like, but I'm thinking, I don't know anybody in my circle who's successful.
Right.
Because of my background. Who am I going to go to for advice? How am I going to minimize my mistakes? Unless I just go through them, which is fine, you can go through them. But if you can shorten that time span between mistakes and by searching out advice, why not? So I ended up after 3 hours, I ended up knocking on the right door, and that was Eaton Sharir. So I knocked on his door. His wife answered the door and said, yeah, my husband would be definitely willing to talk to you. I ended up phoning him. He was in the middle of going to Hong Kong on a helicopter when I called him. And they basically said, yeah, call me on Thursday next week and we'll sit and talk. I've been talking to the man for 15 years.
Wow.
And he's been one of the main driving pieces. Right away, he's given me advice, given me little, skits on basically what to do. But he never tells me what to do. He paints a picture that I already know, and then I already have the answer. Like, write an answer, like 10 questions. Who am I? What value do I add to life? What am I a slave to? What shall I do? Stuff like that, 10 of those. And then if you have any questions about anything that's going on in your life, it'll be within that 10 questions. I'm like, wow. So his question was, basically, he said, what do you have at the time? I said, well, I had 10 grand in the bank. He's like, well, what's your debts, I got 10 grand in debts. He's like, I said, well, I got 10 grand. He's like, no, you don't, you have nothing. Anything, you're backwards. What do you mean? Right? I got 10 grand. I pay that monthly payment. No, you're a slave to the bank. When you're a slave, that's what, number 3. What are you a slave to? You're a slave to the bank. Oof. Okay, there's good debt and bad debt, right? So he gave me the confidence to then go to the bank the next day, pay that right off in full, and now I have 0. Now I'm driven. I got nothing. I don't have any, balloon safety net, nothing there. So now it's time to go, right? So, and every major decision I've made, I've consulted him before I've done it.
Wow.
And he gives me, and the proverbial line down the middle of the page, pros and cons, right? So a big part of where I am today is because of him. Essentially debt-free today because of him, except for, mortgages, houses, stuff like that. But, credit card debt, car payments, there's none of that. So because of him, that's where I'm at. So I learned a huge from that, and he's been my mentor ever since. We've been talking. I pick up the phone anytime, and he's there for me. So,
wow. Sounds like an incredible
So either people think
mentor.
I'm weird for knocking on doors. Why he's willing to help me is he's never seen an approach like that. He does his seminars about this and that and coaching. People come up to him after the seminar. Oh, I need you to coach me this and this and this. But I went out there and knocked on his door.
Yeah.
Right? And I guess because I did something outside the box, which I pride myself on, he was willing to help me. So, and he's my lifetime mentor.
So, I think there's so many important lessons that just come out of that story. That's such a powerful story, Joe. Thank you for sharing it.
I'm just like, if you want something, go get it.
If you want success, well, what did you do? Intuitively, maybe, or maybe on purpose or whatever. You found people, you looked, you saw a group of people who you aspired to be.
Yeah.
Like, these people have these big houses in Tsawwassen, obviously, have some money.
So I'm not trying to prejudge them, but they've done something right. They're continuing to do something right, hopefully, right?
Yeah.
But where else do I go?
So you identify somebody who has what you want, and you go and ask for advice.
Yeah.
And then you have the courage to continue knocking on doors after how many no's, right?
Yeah. Sometimes people creep the door open, slam the door on me. I'm like, okay, I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm just looking for advice, right? What do you mean advice? I'm just like, I know it's a little weird, but if you're willing to spend, I thought if that day.
How old were you when you did this?
25.
That's incredible.
Yeah, 25. So I figured if I meet somebody and they introduce me to somebody and it could open up an opportunity down the road, right? It's funny, Victor Keem, the harder you work, the luckier you get. It's funny how that works, eh?
Yeah.
So put yourself in a position to succeed, right?
Yeah.
And that's essentially what I was trying to do. Whether I met anybody or anything, it was irrelevant. It was an afternoon, on a Saturday, and essentially that one moment is kind of changed a lot where I am today.
Wow, a lot of wisdom there. Thanks, Joe.
No worries.
Can you tell us, I know some of the deals that you've done here in Kamloops, and you put up some pretty good numbers. Can you tell us about some of what you've done on the investing side here in Kamloops with the real estate?
In the way of flipping?
Yeah, and flipping, or just, tell us about some of your deals.
Okay, well, basically one of them was the very first one when I moved here to Kamloops. I, obviously coming from Vancouver, I look at the market, and at the time, I believe houses under 200 grand, there was over 180 for sale at that time. So it's kind of which one do you want to pick? And when I'm looking on the mortgage side of things, I'm like, man, even if I pay full price for this, put a small reno on it, rent it, my mortgages is going to be half of what I'm renting it for. That in itself should be a yaha, like, okay, we need to get as many of these as possible, right? Because, it doesn't work when you start getting $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 houses. The rent may cover the mortgage, but you want it to cover and cash flow, right? So a house was for sale on Alexander Avenue. I think it was 219, 451 Alexander. And then they drop it down to 209. I kind of watched that one. Went in all cash offer. Basically 162.5 was my final sale price.
Wow.
We'd agreed on 175,
nice
subject to an approval from a mortgage being, and I knew that it needed a service upgrade. And in my experience, you're not going to be able to get it insured. Hard time for people to come by and pay cash for this beautiful piece of property. And so I did, and I went and paid, and I said, I'll still buy the house, but I'll pay cash for it, but I want a better deal. So the deal was 162.5. So I went and I built a plan for it, which I was practicing business plans that I've built, and the seminars that I've gone to, and the real estate groups, and all that together, coagulated into one bubble. I kind of figured out how to build my own plans, right? And with the experience I also have with the mortgage side of things. So I built a plan for it to be all in for under 200 grand. And then to sell over the 275 price point. So long story short, was into the house for 37,250. So I'm all in for 199,650. So I'm under my 200 for the very first flip I've ever done, which was amazing.
Yeah.
And with no real super experience, so to speak. And in that side, on the flipping side of things,
And you sold it.
sold it in 2 days, multiple offers, 286.
286. So 86,000 gross profit.
Yep, and I ran it through my company.
How
So
long
then
did
I
it
just
take?
pay myself a dividend, so I don't have to pay the capital gains 25%, 50% is better.
Did you end up paying realtors and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah,
to
I
sell
got
the
paid a
place?
realtor, yeah. For that one, I got a realtor, and he sold it for me. So after all said and done, 72 out the door. Not a bad for your very first time.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
A lot better than me. How long did yours take?
46 days.
Wow. So my
From possession to completion and final sales, 46 days.
yeah, and I think that really speaks to how driven and focused you are, because most people that I've ever talked to lose money on their first flip. And
Maybe I was lucky, but the way I looked at it is,
I don't know.
to find the right property. I know that was in a little bit of a rougher area of Kamloops, but I did a bunch of StatsCan, research on that, and grade 1 enrollment there had gone up to 8% and 7% respectively in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Less rentals, more people moving down, because mortgages are affordable there.
Yeah.
I got a rental on that street that I bought for $150, all in for $216. Put a mortgage on it after. My mortgage is $730 a month, and I rent it for $14.
Yeah.
And it's a brand new house, brand new everything.
Yeah,
Right,
so-
2-bedroom, 1 bath, 800 square feet, new furnace, everything's brand new. So again, even with that, I got literally nothing to worry about for I don't know how many years.
The new roof, everything.
Everything brand new, service upgrade, kitchen,
Yeah.
flooring, to absolutely everything's brand new, right?
Yeah. So what kind of deals did you do next after your first success?
Well, I ended up
there
buying a
on
foreclosure.
Alexander?
My last flip was a foreclosure in the West Side.
Yeah.
It was on, I don't know if
Well, that one's completed now.
That one's been
It's
gone and sold.
Gone, sold.
Gone and sold.
Well, it was sold before you even
I
started.
sold it before I even literally did work into it, which was great because I set him into my passion and drive for these things. I think it spills out to everyone, and
Yeah.
enthusiasm and excitement follows suit.
Yeah.
So basically, picked up this thing. There was over 100 realtors that showed the property. Nobody had put an offer on. It was a foreclosure, 769 MacArthur, and it had a slab issue. The foundation, like the footings, and were all sound. It was just the slab had dropped, so it needed a hydro jack. But I mean, the way I look at things is do your homework, then come up with a decision, right? Did my homework. What did it cost to slab jack this? Right? It's like a foam / mud jack,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Everything else is sound. I brought inspector in there. I brought a professional that deals with foundations in there, and said, "Oh, 100. This is all that's wrong. Do this, and you're fine." Right?
So a really scary problem. You figured out that it would
yep.
cost.
Yeah, and then got about $7,500 to do a slab jack on that. So I went into court. They accepted my $205,000 offer. 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,500 square feet, radiant heating throughout the whole floor. Beautiful rancher in a nice part of town in Westside. Nice street, nice houses there.
How much of a discount do you think you got it for?
They ended up accepting an offer of $241, $5.11 was my final offer going in. Again, I was going to go $238.5. My partner said $241 will win it.
That's Angus.
Yep, I
Yeah.
went with him. I said, you know what?
We'll pay an extra few $1,000.
You think so? I'm the numbers guy, but you think so? Let's do it. We ended up winning by $2,400 in court.
Wow.
So essentially, I would have not got it if it was what my
You would've
gut
been
told me.
$2,000 short.
That right there in itself has paid for itself. Just
Wow.
that having a partner, that's an example of it right there. We went to town on it. So anyways, I get possession, pull up to the house, started loading my stuff for demo. 2 people are walking down the street. They go, "What are you doing here? We saw this house for sale." I said, come in, I'll show you what I'm doing. Right? Oh, enthusiastic, bring them in there. We're going to do this color tones. We're going to do this to the kitchen. My ideas for this, get the layout here, this type of flooring, do the neutral earthy tones on here, And they're like, "Wow, we like what you're going to do." And they're like, "You know what? We'd like to buy it." I said, "Really?" I said, "Yeah, well, we only like a couple changes. We like everything you said. All the tile I picked, the flooring I picked. They love the colors. They love everything. All they wanted was a custom shower walk-in because she's got bad knees and didn't want to walk over and do a tub because the ensuite had a jetted tub. To get rid of that, put pot lights throughout the house and the back door from a sliding glass to a French doors to the patio." So I said, "Okay." So I said, because of that, I would like to have a non-refundable deposit down because, I've built a plan for this house and I'm veering from the plan. So if you're willing to put a non-refundable deposit down, subject to these 100% next day, lawyer's office, $20,000 down, non-refundable, time to get to work. So yeah, finished that house in and out of there 49 days.
Wow.
And because there's no realtor involved, and I bought the house for $241.5, we ended up putting 68 in and we sold it for $409. All the realtors tell me $360, $370 is all you're going to get for it. I strongly believe I'll get over $4. with the finishings that I feel I'm going to do. Anyways, no realtor, $409 out the door. Because they made that process so easy for us, I added in a bonus. So I did a custom fireplace with the cultured stone, beautiful beam in there. It wasn't even about the money. It was just about, like, they thought the fireplace was going to remain the same with how they had arborite around the fireplace, and the grass was a little bit cracked in there, but they thought it was just going to stay. I ended up replacing brand new glass, cultured stone, big beam from Trout Creek there, and 22 coats of urethane on there. I don't know. It was cool because they came in thinking they were going to get, and they got a bonus. So that fireplace really popped. It was the first thing you did when you walk into the house. And it was...
That's incredible that you do... and it's... For some people, the thought of a renovation, even painting a room, is a big, huge undertaking, right? So when somebody with your skill set comes along, they can... And it kind of basically does a custom renovation for somebody.
Yeah.
There's huge value in that, and you've been able to take... You're bringing a property to its highest and best use.
Yeah.
And you've got a real skill set for that, and it's really cool to hear about your success.
Well, like I said, and I think I wrote that in my bio there. Basically, I feel everybody wins when you do that. Like neighborhoods get up in value. People are getting put to work. You got appraisers, you got inspectors, general laborers, sub-trades, all that stuff, realtors, even to insurance companies. Everything benefits from a single flip. Neighbors are happy. Who is mad at the end of the day? Who are you hurting at the end of the day? I think, if something checks all the boxes, that's a pretty good industry to get into.
Yeah,
in the way that everyone... And by no means am I a professional builder, or I have the most amazing skill at one particular thing. I just know how to manage everything.
You know how to put it all together.
Yeah. If I don't know something, I farm out, make sure, and then I watch and I learn. So now I know how it's done. So it doesn't mean I'm going to do it when I'm later, but I'll have an idea. That's how that's done. So I know if things are kind of on the right timeline, how long it took to do that. I track and monitor and measure everything.
Yeah, that is so cool. Well, Joe, unfortunately, we're almost out of time. I could talk to you for probably a couple more hours. Maybe just one last parting question. You're obviously an active, successful real estate investor, and you came to check out the Rents Club. Why did you guys decide to join?
Oh, again, with what I was saying earlier in the pod, being around the same birds of a feather, so to speak, and people that are interested in the same thing. Nothing but success breeds success.
Yeah.
You can do it by yourself, sure. But why not seek advice, seek counsel? There's people in there. Joint venture potentials could happen. Some advice could happen that could steer you in the right direction. If everyone's sitting there and everyone's got the same goal and kind of, end result, why not be together? That's why rents is amazing. I was in REAG for 2 years in Vancouver. I felt that, but the market there's quite high, and it was hard to do what I want to do. Again, coming here, buying a house for $160,000, where are you going to find that in Vancouver, right?
Yeah.
And the numbers don't make sense. But everyone being a part of the group, I highly recommend Rents to anybody. It's been great just to sit down and talk to other investors and other people that have the same goal and dreams that I have.
Wow. Well, thanks so much for your time today, Joe. It's been a pleasure talking, and I really look forward to having you up again on the podcast. And I would love and encourage you to one day, do a presentation at one of our monthly meetings. I think it would be absolutely awesome and well received. So, thanks again.
Definitely. Thank you. Thanks, Sam.
Before we close the show, I just want to say that all the activities Rents undertakes, including this podcast, benefits our bursary program. We've given thousands in bursaries to post-secondary students in real estate-related fields of study. And in that light, I'm asking that wherever you're listening to this, please comment and let us know what you think, good or bad. You're also invited to our next meeting for free. You'll learn something new from one of our speakers and even have a chance to pitch your deal. Do you need cash? Are you looking for property to buy? Share what you're missing with the group and watch your business grow. At recent meetings, there was over $1,500 in finder's fees handed out just for providing a name and a number to someone who was selling a property. There's always at least $1 million in the room looking for the right opportunity, so this is your chance to pitch your deal. You never know where you're going to meet your next joint venture partner. If you're new to real estate investment, we want to hear from you too. You have unique talents and experiences that we can all benefit from, so please come share. You'll have the opportunity to learn the business and meet other like-minded people looking to make the world a better place. Remember that everything you want is in the hands of others, so come learn how to serve them. Lastly, we ask that you leave us a 5-star review. This will help others who need unbiased real estate education find us. To join us in person or online, please email info@rents.website. That's info@rents.website. See you next time.